Salt air. Splintered wood underfoot. One word carved into a post, 9 letters. No blood. No struggle. Just a name, waiting for someone to find it. The year is 1590. John White steps onto Roanoke Island after 3 long years away. He left behind 90 men, 17 women, 11 children. His own daughter. His own granddaughter, Virginia Dare, the first English child born in the Americas. He expected smoke. Voices. The smell of cook fires. Instead, silence. The colony is gone. Not burned. Not looted. Just empty. Roanoke sits off the coast of what is now North Carolina. Low, marshy, guarded by sandbars that wreck ships without warning. England wants a foothold in the New World. Spain already has one, and a war between the two nations is simmering just beneath the surface of everything that follows. The plan is simple on paper: plant a colony, grow it, hold the land, claim the coastline before Spain does. So Walter Raleigh backs the expedition. John White leads it, not just as governor, but as a man bringing his own family into the unknown. White sails in 1587 with over 100 settlers. Men, women, children, farmers, craftsmen, a few soldiers. They land on the same island where an earlier attempt, a small military garrison, had failed 2 years before. That failure left a warning behind. When White ships arrive, they find one skeleton and an abandoned fort. No explanation. Just bones and silence, a preview nobody reads as a warning. They rebuild anyway. Houses go up. Fields get cleared. Within weeks, the goodwill they hoped for with nearby native communities curdles fast. Earlier English settlers had already burned a village and killed a chief over a stolen cup, years before White's group ever set foot on the island. The debt of that violence doesn't disappear. It waits. Food supplies run short almost immediately. The soil is poor. The timing is wrong for planting. Within a month, the colonists realize they don't have enough to survive a coming year. White has a choice to make. Someone has to sail back to England for supplies, and the colonists insist it should be him. His name carries weight. His voice will be heard by investors and the crown. He argues against leaving his family. He loses the argument. He boards a ship in late August, 1587. His daughter, Eleanor, watches him go. His granddaughter is 9 days old. He promises to return within months. The Atlantic has other plans. Short. War breaks out in full between England and Spain. The Spanish Armada looms over the English coast. Every seaworthy ship gets seized for the war effort, White's included. He petitions. He begs. He watches years pass while his family waits an ocean away, unaware that the ship meant to save them has been repurposed to fight off invasion. 3 years pass before he finally secures passage back, on a small vessel more interested in privateering than rescue. When he finally returns in 1590, on his granddaughter's 3rd birthday, he finds the colony dismantled. Not destroyed, dismantled, a fort under construction nearby, abandoned mid-build, tools left where hands last held them. And that carving? 2 words, actually. Croatoan cut deep into a fence post. CRO, carved into a nearby tree, unfinished, as if someone had started and stopped. No cross symbol beside either, the mark White told them to use if they left under distress, under attack, under threat. Its absence should mean safety. Its absence means nothing is certain. No sign of a struggle. No graves. No bodies at all, not one, in 115 people. White believes Croatoan means something specific. It's the name of a nearby island, home to the Croatoan tribe, an ally, not an enemy, in the tangled politics of the region. He believes his people relocated there, peacefully, on their own terms, waiting to be found. He tries to sail there immediately, desperate to close the 3-year gap between promise and return. A storm wrecks his ship's anchors before he can land. His crew, low on supplies and afraid of the season's weather, refuses to risk the voyage again. White sails back to England, still empty-handed. He never returns to America. He dies without knowing what happened to his daughter, his granddaughter, or the rest of the 115. Here's where it gets strange. Search parties over the following decades find nothing conclusive. No mass grave. No ruins consistent with slaughter or fire. Some colonists abandon tools and armor turn up years later in different native settlements across the region, but scattered, not concentrated, as if traded piece by piece over years, passed hand to hand rather than looted all at once in a single violent event. Spanish explorers, actively hunting for rival English settlements to destroy, scour the coast and report finding nothing at all, as if the colony had simply dissolved into the landscape rather than been erased from it. Then there are the Jamestown accounts. Arriving nearly 20 years later, new settlers hear persistent rumors from local tribes of pale-skinned people living inland, of communities with grey or light-colored eyes, of individuals who supposedly build houses in the English fashion. Captain John Smith records some of it. Later colonial leaders send expeditions to investigate specific rumors. None return with proof. Nothing is ever confirmed. No definitive remains. No Roanoke burial site has ever been found, not in 4 centuries of searching. No written record from the colonists themselves survives, no journal, no letter, no second clue beyond 9 carved letters and a war that stole 3 critical years. One theory says the colonists assimilated with the Croatoan people on Hatteras Island, intermarrying, adopting their language and their means of survival, disappearing into a culture instead of a grave. Modern excavations on Hatteras have turned up English artifacts, a signet ring, gun parts, fragments of tools, mixed in with native ones, which some researchers read as evidence of exactly this kind of blending. Another theory points to disease, an epidemic the fragile colony had no defense against, with survivors scattering in small groups before it could claim them all. Another points to conflict, not with the coastal tribes who'd formed an uneasy peace, but with the more powerful and more distant Powhatan Confederacy further inland, whose leader may have viewed any English presence as a long-term threat worth eliminating before it could grow. A darker theory suggests a portion of the colonists attempted to sail home on their own, using a smaller vessel left in their care, and were lost somewhere in the Atlantic, an entire settlement's fate resolved not on land but beneath open water. Every theory has a hole in it. Every piece of evidence points 2 directions at once, and the 4 centuries since have added guesses without ever adding proof. What unsettles people most isn't the disappearance itself. It's the calm surrounding it. There's no scorched earth. No panic frozen in place, no overturned tools, no signs of a fight anyone won or lost. Whatever happened, it happened slowly enough, or quietly enough, to leave almost nothing behind for White or anyone since to read. 115 people can vanish, and the land will simply close back over them, like water over a stone dropped from a passing boat. So here's the question worth sitting with: how many disappearances in history look sudden, violent, dramatic, when really, they happened this way? Quiet. Unremarkable. No scream loud enough to leave an echo, no scene dramatic enough to demand investigation until it was already far too late. Maybe the scariest endings aren't the ones with evidence, maybe they're the ones that just stop, leaving only a word carved into wood for someone else to find, centuries later, still guessing. If this pulled you in, you know exactly what to do. Hit like, subscribe if you're new here, and share this with someone who loves a mystery with no ending. Then drop a comment below. What's your theory on Roanoke? Stay curious. Stay weird.